All right, I'll be right back.
I'm still checking levels.
KBLA, the Taking Show. The Taking Show. The Taking Show. The Taking Show. KBLA, the Taking Show. The Taking Show. The Taking
Hey, Deborah. Hey, Francis Wright.
All right, everything looks good.
You're welcome, Francis. We got the radio up just in time for you all show. And by the way, Francis, your show don't start for a whole nother hour. And you always trying to be a songwriter. You should be listening to this show.
I I make up songs in my head. Does that make me a songwriter?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
And people think that you got to write a million songs to be a songwriter. If you just write what I'm saying, Miss Wright, is that you always trying to write songs. If there's anybody that should be listening to this show, it should be you. You want to be a songwriter. That's all I'm saying.
What's the best way to? Oh, we're about to start. What's the best way to document a song? Is it write it or record it or
What do you mean document it?
a girlfriend? Pay attention. One minute.
Mm-hmm.
King Fred says he's going to be a dancer.
Yeah, well, they've already got a dancing bear and stuff, so I don't know if that's gonna be good. Hey, Ali.
6 o'clock Pacific.
You ready?
I am.
Dre, you already are a private dancer. A dancer for money. Tell me when you're ready, Mike.
Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And Mike, how long do I have this first one?
You have 12 minutes.
12 minutes? Okay.
Yep. You're on, Jay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. I hope it's good for you. How's everybody doing? My name is Jay King. Welcome to the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. We got a good one for you today, tonight, this afternoon, whatever. We're talking about songwriters and publishers and why it's important for you to understand it if you're in the music business. Even if you're not a writer today and you haven't written a song, but you're a singer or a musician and you write or record other people's songs, it's important to understand the whole structure of songwriting and publishing because it's going to be important to you as time goes on. Whether you get a piece of the publishing or somebody gives you some writing credit because of your contribution to something that they've already recorded, you got to know that that's due you, that you should get a piece. And the only way to know when, where, how, and why songwriting is yours or how you can get a piece of the publishing, even though you didn't write the song, you have to understand it. My name is Jay King. I am the leader of the group Club Nouveau. I am the CEO and president of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, and I'm an on-air personality here at KBLA Talk 1580 and also at 97.5 FM KDEE in Sacramento. I also do a morning podcast on the Jay King Network called Kings in the Morning. So I'm all over the place, you guys. And I am a creative. And songwriters are people that we call creatives. And without songwriters, some of the most beautiful voices in the world you might not know. Because sometimes people who are vocalists or performers aren't necessarily the writer of the composition that makes them famous. And people that write the compositions that make other people famous are probably doing so because they don't necessarily have the pipes that can take them to that next level. Either way, there is something to understand about the dynamic of songwriting and publishing, and something to understand about the people who record the songs and the people who write them, and the synergy that exists between the two, and why it is sometimes a smart move to give someone who is a performer some of your songwriting credit so that they can do your song. I mean, just imagine Whitney Houston likes one of your songs, and You can hear her voice on it in your head, and you're like, oh my God, Whitney is going to make this song a mega hit. And so you bring the song to Whitney. She loves it, and she says, yes, I want to make this song a mega hit. And right before she records it, she says, I would like 10% of the writing and publishing. And you say, what? No, I'm not giving you none of my writing and publishing. I wrote this song. This is my song. This is my masterpiece. I only want my name on it. And then you hear a click on the other end and just, and Whitney's no longer interested in your song. And the next thing you know, she re-records Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You, and it goes through the roof, sells 35 million albums, and you start adding how much money you could have had. Should you have given up a piece of your song? Now, there will be some people that will tell you, no, never give up any parts of your song. You wrote that. That's your creation. Somebody else will come along and record it. And that's a good attitude to have, but that might or might not happen. If somebody with a name that you know is current, that can sell records, and that can put you on the map as a songwriter, but you have to give up a little piece of your songwriting and a little piece of your publishing, and you came to me, I would say, like Shelley Tatum just said with the exclamation point, yes, you absolutely give them a piece of the song, because oatmeal is better than no meal. And believe it or not, I've met people who had the opportunity to be on albums that they wanted to control their publishing and writing, or they didn't like the artist, so they didn't give him the song. I had a good friend, I'm not going to name him, but I was working with this kid named Robbie Van Winkle, professionally known as Vanilla Ice. We went to DC. I'm sorry. Take that out, Mike. We went to Dallas, Texas to sit down with Tommy Kwan and Vanilla Ice, and my friend had a song. And I said, you should give this to Vanilla Ice. And he said, I don't like him. Now, at the time, Vanilla Ice wasn't a big artist yet. His record hadn't came out. But my friend didn't like him, and he didn't give him the song. And about 2 years later, Vanilla Ice released this song called Ice Ice Baby. Doom, 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 doom. And I had 4 songs on that album with a songwriter and producer by the name of Kyrie Shaheed, best known for his work with Mac Mall, Mac Dre, the Mac, Young Lay, and Doobie, and all those folks. He did 4 songs on Vanilla Ice. As a matter of fact, the first 4 songs. We didn't do Ice Ice Baby, but guess what? It didn't matter, because our 4 songs were on the album with Ice Ice Baby. And so as that album sold, those songs became valuable. Ice Ice Baby was the driver, the single that sold that album. And every song on that album has the same intrinsic value. Ice Ice Baby only became worth more money because it became a single. So now it's not just selling off the album, it's selling as a single record, and it's spinning on the radio. So that's where the money happens. But all the songs on the album are worth the same. So you multiply 25 million by each of those songs, the value of those songs, and each song got the same amount of money. Well, we had 4 songs on that album. So, of course, we made great money, and we're thankful to Vanilla Ice to this day. Now, The interesting part is this, and this is about songwriting and publishing, is I didn't write anything on the album, but Kyrie was a songwriter signed to my publishing company. So he had a 50-50 publishing deal with me, and he was the songwriter. So for every dollar he generated, I received a quarter. He received 75 cents because I own 50% of the publishing, but he owned 50% of the publishing and 100% of his writer's share. And this is why I say, if you're going to be in the songwriting business, and if you're going to be in the music business, you want to be in the songwriting business, but you want to also be in the understanding business, understanding writing and publishing, what it means, how the splits are done, who is a songwriter, who's not. If a guy brings you music, is he just a beat maker? And are you the songwriter because you wrote the lyric and the melody? Well, some people might believe that a guy writing music is not really writing music. He's a beat maker. And the guy who writes the lyric and the melody, he is the songwriter or she is the songwriter. This is incorrect. That's incorrect. The guy writing the music is a songwriter. The guy writing the lyric and the melody is a songwriter. And when they write together, or when he takes the music and puts a lyric and melody on top of it, they are collaborating. And how the song is split is based on how many collaborators they are, and who contributed what. So I'm going to get into all of it so that you get an understanding of how and why songwriting is so important, publishing is so important, and how one song, just one hit record, can change your life and make you a very wealthy person for the rest of it. So we got a ways to go, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be an interesting journey. I'm going to tell you some things you probably didn't know, some things you might have thought and didn't know that what you were thinking was correct. You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. My name is Jay King, and we're talking songwriting and publishing. We'll be right back.
Good, Jay. Got it.
Okay.
Next segment, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You ready?
I am.
You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jay King. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I want you to really pay attention to what I'm going to say to you about songwriting and publishing, because it is one of the most valuable pieces of, I'm sorry, Mike. It is one of the most valuable intellectual properties you'll ever own. It is an intellectual property because of how smart it is, because it continues to generate and generate and generate money. And if you're a songwriter who hasn't had one of your songs recorded yet, or if you're recording your songs and it haven't become a hit yet, don't worry about it. Don't fret. Hold on to that publishing. Hold on to that copyright. Hold on to that intellectual property, because you never know when one of your obscure recordings gets into the hands of a right now producer or right now artist, and they like it and decide to take your intellectual property and incorporate it into their composition. And guess what happens? they can't release it without your permission. And if you don't give them permission to release it, they have to scrap the whole thing. Yeah. That's why sampling is something that you have to clear first before you release it. Or if they release your record before you clear it, you can take 100% of the song. Like Puffy, when he sampled Every Breath You Take by Sting and the Police. When he took that song, what he did was violate a copyright. By violating a copyright, Sting could have done one of two things. He could have pulled that song completely off the shelf, or he could have waited until it got so big that when he threatened to pull it off the shelf, he'd have so much leverage that he could take 100% of it. Which do you think he did? Yeah. He took 100% of that song. That song, that one song that he does with Puffy generates over $1 million a year to this day. One song. So there are a lot of songwriters that are out here in the ether that don't get their music out. They don't want people to record their songs because they love their songs, because they're trying to get it to the right person. If you find somebody that wants to record your music and you like their voice, even though they may not be a known artist, you can let them record the record. Because what they're doing is they're giving you a demo. If you think about it, they're giving you the demo that you can give to somebody else to let them hear it. So the person that you want to get it to, you could say, because I'm going to give you guys some numbers here. Over 95% of independent artists that release a single sell less than 2,500 units or 2,500 downloads. I'm going to tell you again. More than 95% of independent artists who release their singles sell less than 2,500 units or 2,500 downloads. So if you gave somebody one of your songs to release, what they probably did for you and what they're doing for you, whether you know it or not, is making a really good demo for you to play or to send out to name artists that you think the song would work for. There's a songwriter by the name of Brenda Russell. Brenda Russell wrote Piano in the Dark. She wrote Get Here. She wrote If Only for One Night. And if you know those songs, you know that those were big monster songs. But guess what? She recorded them first. Yeah. Now, Brenda Russell isn't known for her vocals. She's known as a songwriter. But she couldn't get her songs out to artists that she wanted to get them out to. And so what she did was start recording her own songs. And then other people would hear her songs and say, hey, I like that song. I want to record that song. And now Brenda Russell had people like Olita Adams, Luther Vandross, and other name artists that started recording songs that she had already recorded because they could hear themselves on it. So, as a songwriter, there are a lot of different ways to get your songs out there. I'm talking about songwriting first because I want you guys to understand the value, the power, and the longevity of songwriting. When you write a song and one of those songs catches on, becomes part of the fabric of the era that you grew up in, and then it starts to transcend, like Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album. What people don't know is that Obie Benson from the Four Tops is who wrote What's Going On in the beginning. And they were in Berkeley, California. We're talking the early 1960s. And there is political unrest because Black people and Black power, that movement is starting to happen. And they're seeing the way law enforcement are treating students in Berkeley. And they say, what is going on? And Obie starts writing a song. So he gives a song to the Four Tops. And they say, no, this ain't our vibe. So now they're over in England and they run into Joan Baez. Joan Baez doesn't like the song either. So she says no. He plays it for Anna Gordy. Anna Gordy is the wife of Marvin Gaye. When we come back, I'm going to tell you a story of how a simple song that nobody thought would be much of anything, just another decent record, became part of the greatest album ever recorded in the history of music per Rolling Stone magazine. My name is Jay King, and you're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. We'll be right back.
Great stuff.
Okay. How was that, Mike?
Yeah, very good, Jay.
How many minutes do I have?
Okay, we got 3 more segments left. One's 9 minutes.
Okay, so this is a 9-minute segment. 9 minutes. Okay, you ready?
Yep, I am.
It's the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking about songwriting and publishing right now, and I'm going to tell you a story about the Marvin Gaye record, What's Going On. So, Marvin Gaye is really transitioning. He has been a teen idol, a sex symbol, but now the Vietnam War is happening. His brother is in Vietnam. His number one lady partner in singing has just passed away, Tammy Terrell. And Marvin doesn't know what he wants to do, if he really wants to continue to be in the music business. He's kind of all the way out there. He's trying out for the Detroit Lions football team. He's hanging out with those guys. And Obie Benson from the Four Tops has brought his song to Marvin's wife, who was Berry Gordy's sister. She's 17 years older than Marvin. Marvin married her when he was 24 and she was 41. And now Marvin is 30. And he's maturing into a man. He doesn't want to do these tinny bopper songs like Hitchhike and Stubborn Kind of Fella. He's really starting to see the world. So Obie brings him this song But it's not how Marvin would do it. But what he does as a smart songwriter is he brings Marvin into the song as a songwriter and gives Marvin the room to change lyric, to change melody, to change the meaning. As a songwriter, sometimes you get too married to the sound of or direction of your song that you will stop the growth of it or stop the success of it because you hear it one way. And that's what made Obie Benson so smart. He let Marvin Gaye be creative. So Marvin Gaye starts working on what's going on. And he starts working on it because Anna Gordy loves it. She encourages him to do this music because it's different than all this love, sexy stuff he's been doing. This is grown-up man stuff. So Marvin starts working on the record. And they're in the studio. And Marvin is doing vocals on different tracks. So he does the vocal, "Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying." And he records it. And then he says, "I want to go to another track." So they save that track and they do what we call muting it. They mute that track so he can't hear it. He sings it again. And then they mute that track so he can't hear it. Then they sing it again. And he mutes that track so he can't hear it. But he sang it 3 different ways. He's just seeing what he can do and how he can hear the song. So he tells the engineer to play the last time he did it. So the engineer plays that part, but he forgets to mute the other 2 parts that Marvin was doing. So now all 3 parts are playing at the same time. And it's not until they're halfway through that they realize, hey, they're all 3 playing at the same time. And that's how the sound of Marvin Gaye changed. So not only did the direction of his career change because he started doing this serious music with the What's Going On album, but how he did his vocals, stacking his vocals on top of each other, was different than what he had done in the past with Heard It Through the Grapevine and Hitchhike and Stubborn Kind of Fella. All of a sudden, this stacking of vocals gave him a whole bunch of body and emotion and different feelings and different styles all in one. It was jazzy, yet gospel-y, yet funky, and they were all together. And when they brought that record to Berry Gordy said, "What kind of crap is this? What are you doing? You're going to mess up your whole image with this song." And Berry Gordy would not release What's Going On. And so Marvin said he wasn't going to record a record if Berry Gordy didn't release that one. And Berry Gordy said, "Well, you're not going to release a record because I'm not releasing. You're not going to record anything because I'm not going to release this record." And they were at a stalemate. And they had this big meeting where they had to vote on this song because What's Going On sounded different than any other Motown record, because Motown in the songwriting was like a machine. It was like Ford Motor Company. They knew what they were doing. And they had a formula. And Marvin Gaye went outside that formula. But a guy named Barney Ells waited for Berry Gordy to go on vacation to the Bahamas, and he released 100,000 records, singles. By the time Berry found out it was released, those 100,000 singles were gone, and they were shipping out 200,000 or 300,000 more. And that's how What's Going On became the massive hit that revolutionized the way vocals were done, the way they were comped and stacked, and Marvin Gaye became an international star. But what you don't know is that for all the work that Marvin did, Obie Benson, the original songwriter, made just as much money as Marvin because he was his partner in songwriting on that song. And to this day, What's Going On probably generates between $1.5 and $3.5 million a year to this very day. A song that was recorded in 1969 and released in 1971. The reason why I encourage artists to be songwriters and to release the songs that you write and to hold on to your publishing is because you don't know which of them are your gold mine. And it only takes one person to discover you for your discovery to be like a gold rush. I'm going to tell you something about somebody real quick, and we're going to get out of here because we got to take a break. But I know you guys have heard of the painter Van Gogh. But do you know that all of Van Gogh's paintings that he did, he never sold one when he was alive? When he died, his wife loved him so much and believed in him so much that she continued to push his art. And one day he sold a piece that became 4 pieces, that became 8 pieces, that became 64 pieces. And Van Gogh became a name in the art world. But just imagine if his wife didn't know the value of his art, of his intellectual property, what they would have lost. Know the value of your intellectual property. Don't lose it. You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. We'll be right back. How was that, Mike?
Good story.
That was 9 minutes, right?
It was. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're on track. 2 more 4-minute segments.
Huh?
We're on track.
Yeah.
We're doing great. 2 more,
Okay,
4,
so-
4.5, and we're good to go.
Is it 4 and 4.5 or 4.5 and 4.5?
It's 4.5 and 4.5.
Okay. You ready?
I am.
Hold on. Let me go. I'm going to get to, okay, so 4.5 will be 6:38 and a half when I let these 10 seconds pass. 6:38 and a half. Okay. You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. My name is Jay King. Talking about songwriting and publishing. I spent the most of this show on songwriting. Let me explain to you what publishing is to songwriting. As a songwriter, you are automatically the publisher of the song. Now, the way you become a certified publisher or a verified publisher is you have to, once your song is recorded and released or scheduled for release, you have to sign up with one of the 3 writing societies, CSAC, ASCAP, or BMI. When you sign up with one of those 3 writing societies and your song is released, because you're going to fill out a form that shows that who the artist is, what label it's on, what day it's going to be released, the title of the song, uh, what your publishing name is, your publishing company, what percentage you own of the song, who are the other writers of the song. All that stuff is going to go on a form that you fill out. And that's when your song will be registered, and it'll have a record number, a song number and everything. Harry Fox, no, not Harry Fox. ASCAP, CSAC, BMI. Those are the three writing societies. Harry Fox is a collection agency for songwriters and publishers. It's not a writing society. So you sign up, you get your song. Now you have your publishing name. It's documented. J King 4 is my publishing company name because J King 4 is my son, J. Anthony King the fourth. So to this day, my publishing company is J King 4. All my songs are under J King 4. Now, if you look around and see all these people that are selling their publishing for 30, 40, $50 million, $100 million, $200 million, and people are saying, oh my God, they're getting paid. If you ever seen the Big Fig Newton commercial, if you grew up in the 70s, you know what I'm talking about. They do this one thing on the Big Fig commercial, and he said, now here's the tricky part. The Big Fig Newton. There's a lot of tricky parts to when they give you all that money for your publishing and songwriting, and they pay you off. And the tricky part is, if they're giving you $50 million, it's because it's worth between $500 million and $1.5 billion. If they're giving you $10 million, it's because it's worth between $100 million and $300 million. They're not giving you the value of it. They're giving you what it's worth right now because they already know what they're going to do in the next 3 to 5 years to multiply that number by 5 to 10. So don't give your publishing away. Don't sell it. Don't take all that money because you got to pay taxes on it. So even if you got 50 million, you still got to pay 25 million to the government. The reason why I'm telling you this is because you haven't even taken the metaverse into account. You don't even know what's going to happen in the metaverse. We'll be right back to Tie This Knot. My name is Jay King, and you're tuned into The Jay King Show.
Thanks, Jay. Got it.
Okay, 4.5.
Yep, ready for you.
You're tuned into The Jay King Show, and I'm telling you, this show went by pretty quickly. We're talking about songwriting and publishing, and it's just important to me that as independent songwriters and independent publishers, that you all understand the value of your copyright, the value of your intellectual property, the value of what you are creating, that it has real value. And don't let anybody tell you it doesn't. Don't go sign publishing deals with people that say they can do this and this for you, but they're not giving you any money. And they're not showing you that one of your songs is going to be recorded by somebody or generate money. It is important to me as a songwriter and publisher myself that before I kick out of this meat suit, that everything that I know, everything that I've learned, every mistake that I've made, that I pass it on to you so that you don't do the same thing that I've done, so that you become better than me, and so that you can pass it on to the next generation. There's so much in the world of songwriting and publishing. I'm going to leave you with this. Find an administrator, somebody to administer your publishing, because you can't do it. You can't do it and you won't do it. You won't understand neighboring rights and what it means. You won't understand that in order for you to collect money in other countries, you got to have a sub-publisher. But guess what? A publishing administrator will. And you play somebody who's administering your publishing anywhere from 10 to 25%. And it is based on experience, based on what it is that they bring to the table. If you do what I'm telling you to do right now, ensure that you have protected your songwriting and publishing catalog. It won't be today that you thank me, but it'll be 10 or 15 years from today. Rodney O has to say thank you to me because 20 some odd years ago, Rodney wanted to sell Everlasting Bass. And had he sold Everlasting Bass, he wouldn't have the song with Future and Kendrick Lamar that's going to pay him $4 million today. I'm going to call Rodney and tell him he owes me some money. My name is Jay King. You've been listening to the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Jay Ali, yes, I will do question and answers. Anybody who has some questions, you can type them now, and I'll answer questions. So go, Jay. If you had a question, what's your question? Yep, Darren. Yeah, Rodney O, and he's fighting. I have written songs that I believe could be great, so I'm listening to what's being said. So, Johnny, are you recording the songs? Are you looking for people to record them? Who have you sent them to? Who do you think? What kind of artists? What kind of songs are they? Thank you, Shelly Tatum. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Janet Marie. Thank you guys for listening. Hey, Laisha Boyd. Hey, John, Sway John. So, Jay Ali, did you have a question? How does licensing apply to publishing? Okay, that's a good question. So the way licensing applies to publishing is like this. When a song is licensed, the licensor has to pay the publisher and songwriter. So what they do is they license the song and they get a fee. So they get an upfront fee. So let's say they get a $5,000 upfront fee. So, and it's according to what you're licensing for, Jay. So you got to talk about what is the licensing for. Is it licensing for a movie? Because if it's licensing for a movie, that's called a sync license. So if it's a sync license, a lot of people are going to make money. I'm going to tell you who's going to make money. The record company. So if it's your record, they're licensing from your independent company, you get paid as the record company. If you're the songwriter, you get paid as a songwriter. If you're the publisher, you get paid as the publisher. So the publisher pays the songwriter. The record company pays the artist. And if they're paying a fee of $5,000 for the sync license for the master use, then they'll probably pay $5,000 for the sync license for the songwriter and publisher. So the master use, the record company will split 50-50 with the artist. The publishing and writing, the publisher will split 50-50 with the songwriter. But if the songwriter owns 50% of the publishing and 100% of the songwriting, the songwriter is going to get 75% of the money. The publisher is going to get 25% of the money. On the other side, the artist is going to get 50% of the credit. The record company is going to take 50% of it. And if the artist owes the record company any money, this 50% is going to go to what he owes. What happens if someone records your song without consent? If somebody records your song without consent, if you've released that song before, they don't need your consent. If you've recorded a song and you've released it and somebody remakes your song, they just have to get a compulsory license. They just have to, they're going to pay at the full rate. You're going to make them pay. Most songs, when they're on album, to pay to what we call the 3/4 rate. So instead of getting 9.1 cents or 9.2, whatever it is per song, no, it's 10 cents now. Instead of getting 10 cents a song, they'll give you 75% of that value, or 7.5 cents. But if somebody records your song, they don't get to negotiate with you. You get paid on the full rate. How does artists, writers, and publishers get paid from streaming? The same way they get paid from downloads. The streaming is hundreds of a penny. Okay. And a lot of people are mad about streaming, which is dumb to me. But the reason why they're mad about streaming is because they don't know the history of royalties in the music business. Because if they knew the history of royalties and payouts, they would say, thank God that they identified this as a revenue stream so early. Even though the money isn't that big yet, it will be. But you have to remember, when we first did videos weren't a revenue stream. Videos cost us money. And then over time, it was almost 20 years before we started getting a royalty from videos. So we're getting royalties from streaming. It's very minimal, but if you make, like Rodney O was making $50,000 a day from streaming. That's how much the song was streaming. So just imagine, as the streaming royalty starts to get bigger and bigger, as these platforms that are streaming start to pay down their debt, the royalty is going to go up, and it's going to be wonderful. Is publishing company responsible for pitching your songs for licensing? That's a great question, Pacific Vibration. There are some publishing companies that is what they do. They are big companies. They have inroads to record companies. They know all the artists, and they pitch songs. It used to be that way, not so much now. But there are licensing companies that will license, and again, you guys talk about licensing in a very general term. Licensing what? Licensing for TV shows, licensing for reality shows, licensing for movies, licensing for commercials. So, it's according, and then Jay Ali says licensing for films. What does that mean? Is it background music in the film? Is it a theme song in the film? Is it an independent film? Is it a major film? So there are a lot of things that you have to encompass in the conversation. You can't just make it general, because there are specific things that happen in specific areas of licensing. And then it has to do with how big the song is. If you're licensing Marvin Gaye, what's going on? I don't care if it's in a little baby film with a $2,000 budget. You're going to spend $500,000, $250,000 on what's going on in your $2,000 film, because you want to license Marvin Gaye's what's going on. Any other questions? Mike, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if there's a best way to trap. The word I use, trap, save, record a recording, a song.
Okay,
A
hold on. Let me see. Okay, so put that first one up. What if you play a melody from a popular song? What percent does the original writer get? Bay Brother, they can get 100% of it. They can take up to 100% of the song. That's why before you release something, this is where a company like Harry Fox comes into play. Harry Fox, you go to Harry Fox, you put the song title in, the original composition, and Harry Fox can help you with the sample clearance. Or you get somebody who does sample clearance or who does reinterpolations, because what you might not be sampling something, you might be reinterpreting something the way you want to do it. You got to get it cleared. And that's when you'll know what percentage they take. For instance, with the Loonies, I got 5 on it. I took 50% of it. But when Puffy did Satisfy You, we took 75% of it. And when Jennifer Lopez did it, we took 80% of it. So we split it with the Loonies, but we took a bigger and bigger piece as more and more people did it. There were 2 other questions that came up, one from Shelly Tatum and one, I think, from Jay Ali. Did you see them, Snitchy?
Yes, I'm getting those for you now. I was answering one of the questions on your behalf. Here we go.
You can't answer on my behalf.
Well, yeah, when you see the question, you'll see that I could do that one. Wow. You see it?
No, he just, okay. Me and my sister recorded a song with Felton Pilot, and they put it on a movie without her permission. She got a little change. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't just take somebody's music and without them. But no, Shelly Tatum asked a question, and somebody else asked a question, so you didn't post them.
All right, hang on. Let me go back.
I know. Do your job.
I'm
This
doing
is
it.
what Ali is talking about. Can
Okay.
this segment be viewed after it ends? Yes, it's on my Facebook page, Shelly. So yeah, it'll be posted. I think this posts on my page, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And on YouTube.
Yep.
Yes.
Robin Thicke and T.I. were in a lawsuit with Marvin Gaye estate. Can you explain why the Marvin Gaye? Oh, that's a great question. I'm gonna tell you why the Marvin Gaye estate won. The Marvin Gaye estate would have lost that lawsuit if they had brought the lawsuit, because the burden of proof would have been on the Marvin Gaye estate. But because what's the little weird boy name? Pharrell. Because Pharrell and Robin Thicke brought the lawsuit to them, the burden of proof was on them, on Robin Thicke and Pharrell. So they put themselves in a losing position. But in all actuality, that song should have never, that lawsuit should have never been brought by them. Marvin Gaye's song was not violated. The melody wasn't. The music wasn't. The lyric wasn't. The feel is what they stole. They stole the feel of Got to Give It Up. But now, not music, not a note was like the music. It was just a feel of it, not a melody, not a lyric. But because they had the burden of proof that they didn't take it, they lost. The dumbest move, I would have never brought a lawsuit. They should have never brought the lawsuit. They caused themselves, they thought that they were going to circumvent by suing the Marvin Gaye estate. And that was the dumbest thing they could ever done. If I had been working with them, I would have said, no, you let Marvin Gaye bring the lawsuit, put the burden of proof on them. And Marvin Gaye's estate would have lost. Did you ever find the other questions that you didn't find?
I believe I've covered all questions. Yes.
No, you didn't. No, there were two questions that were brought up there that you didn't.
All
You know what? You don't
Let me
because
see.
you.
Let me see.
This is what Ali and them talking about.
You know what? Now,
What
I
if
can't.
you play a melody from a popular song? What percent does the original writer get?
I know
Whatever is negotiated. That's what the original writer gets. Whatever he negotiates, whatever he decides or she decides they want. No, there is no set fee. It's all negotiated. Some people don't want you. So the only time you don't have to negotiate with somebody is when you're remaking their music. When you're remaking their music, they can't stop you. Anybody can remake anybody else's song once it's been recorded. That's why Prince couldn't stop Sinead O'Connor from recording Nothing Compares to You. Even though he didn't like it, he said he didn't want him to do it. There was nothing he could do about it.
But he owns the rights, right? He owns the words.
It doesn't matter. She just re-recorded it. You have the right to re-record somebody's song once it's been recorded. So I do want to say this. I'm gonna give you guys some songs that people did that they only did one record. They only had one hit, and it made them rich. Yep, Michael Stokes. We covered that one already. So, oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey, remember that record? That one record made Tony Basil so rich that she gets money to this day. Gary Portnow, he wrote a song called Where Everybody Knows Your Name. You guys know that song? It's the Cheers theme, 1982. He makes so much money, he still makes money to this day. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dog? To this day, continues to make money. To this day, people became millionaires off of these songs. Don't worry, be happy. Bobby McFerrin, to this day, continues to make money off that record. Remember, everybody was kung fu fighting. Ha! Remember that? Carl Douglas makes millions of dollars to this day. Vanilla Ice, Ice, Ice Baby. That's right. Baby Got Back, Return of the Mac. Those are all songs that continue to generate hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So one song, so that's why as a songwriter, you can never stop writing songs. You never stop writing songs. No, A Will, the Orange Juice Jones song, Standing in the Rain, don't make no money. No, it ain't a generator. It's not a
Where's
generator.
the line between a sample and a rewrite then?
A sample. Okay, so there's three things that you're talking about here, Mike. A sample is when somebody takes a recording that already exists and samples a part of it and inserts it in their song and builds around it. Because they sampled it, they have to clear the master recording that they sampled it from, and they have to clear the publishing and writing Okay? Save that one from Joaquin for me, Snitchy.
Yes.
When you reinterpret something, you replay it, but you put your lyric on it, your melody, your idea, but you take my music, you replay it, so you don't have to worry about clearing the master. You worry about the publishing and writing. But because you write something on top of it, I have the right to deny your sample or deny your reinterpolation. I can stop you. But if you re-record my song the way I re-recorded Bill Withers' Lean on Me, he couldn't stop me because I didn't rewrite the song. I reproduced the record, but it was his song the same way he did it. And I could have changed the way I did it, but guess what? I can't get any publishing for it. I can't get any writer's credit. It's his song. I'm just re-recording it. So you have a sample clearance, you have a reinterpolation clearance, and then you have a compulsory license for a remake. So how do you look into songs placed on albums that you haven't seen publishing on, but is registered? And also, how are the sales even tracked for your songs placed? So okay, so you gotta unpack that. I don't understand what you mean. So how do you look into songs placed on albums that you haven't seen publishing on? All right. So the question is, did you register your publishing company? When the album came out, did you make sure that your publishing and writing was taken care of? Was it on a major label? If it was on a major label, did you call legal affairs and say, "Hi, I'm Jay King. I wrote on this song. I don't see my publishing information." So a lot of times people do themselves a disservice by not taking care of their business as a publisher so that they can take care of themselves and protect themselves as songwriters. Rob Bass versus Frankie Beverly. Frankie Beverly, I don't know if there was ever an issue because Rob Bass, they probably cleared that record. And Frankie Beverly probably took a big portion of the songwriting and publishing because I never saw anything on a lawsuit between the two. So a lot of this isn't rocket science. A lot of it is practical business. And when you are a songwriter, you are a business. Songwriting is a business. If you are a publisher, you are a business. As a publisher, you can sign songwriters and take 100% of their publishing to do the work that you do and pay them 100% of the writing. Frankie might not have liked it, but I bet you he liked the checks he got, Darren. Yeah, he liked those checks. He might not he might have act like he didn't like it, but I promise you, he liked those checks the same way Rick James liked that check from You Can't Touch This. He might have act like he didn't like it, but he liked that check. It's something about those checks that make you say, you got to touch this. Doom, 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 doom. Let's touch this. How about publishing from a comedy album? It works no matter what. A will a comedy album has it has segments. It's segmented out just like an album is. So the publishing works the same way. Publishing works the same way. Who's the writer? Who's the publisher? You know, it's a it's like a phonograph record or a CD that it's a performance. Anybody else have a question?
Can't touch this.
Lenny Williams got paid too when he was sampled in a rap song. Lenny made so much money that it scared the shit out of him. Lenny made so much money from because I love you when Twister recorded it that he was going to the bank. I mean, he was going to his mailbox picking up checks close to six figures every quarter. And he started walking out to his mailbox with bulletproof pajamas on. That's why he live up in Green Valley in that big old house. And why all those houses he got to pay for it. He drives a Bentley and all that stuff. Lenny Williams makes money. A lot of it. What were you going to ask me, Mike?
No, I just said can't touch this.
No.
What do you comment?
Okay.
How's Blackman doing?
He's good. He is good. That's another guy who generates money every quarter. He's okay.
Sorry to hear about Kool and the Gang leader dying, one of the leaders.
Oh yeah, well, car accident, yeah. Yeah. But that's that's just
Might be the worst way to go.
I think anytime you're going, it's the worst way. Silly Love Song recorded 32 times. A Michael Stokes song, a top 5 catalog moneymaker. Yep. Anytime you got a song, so it's you get lucky. If you get lucky enough to have one of those songs, that's why I continue to write. I continue to write because somebody might like one of my songs so much they say, man, I like this song. I don't like the way Jay King did it, but I like it. I'm going to record it and turn it into a mega smash. That's why you write. You never know. Are there any more questions? Are we good, y'all? You're welcome. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome, Jay.
Peace out, y'all.
Thanks, Nicole. Snitchy.
You gonna end the snitch?